So I have ADHD tendencies, okay, so I like to wander. The podium is really restrictive, so I might walk away from it every now and again, just to give you a heads up. But this evening, I'm absolutely honored to be able to provide the keynote to a room of phenomenal women, future leaders, strong academics. Like it's just amazing the potential and the talent that we have in this room. And so I'm very humbled to have been invited to be able to speak with you all and your families. So tonight's keynote, we're going to talk about Shakespeare, Janet, and you. He said all we had to do was click, right? Okay, so we're going to get started with William Shakespeare. My background as an English teacher really augmented my love for Shakespeare, right? So I started my career as an undergraduate at James Madison University, which is in Harrisonburg, Virginia, right along the 66 interstate headed to Northern Virginia. We had a ton of cows, we had lots of trees, okay? And we only had about 8% of our student population was of color, okay? So it was a predominantly white institution. I ran track there. I told myself I was going to be a pediatrician. I just knew I was going to work with small animals. Exactly, right. Children, small animals. But after my first year and a 1.18 GPA, that probably wasn't going to be an option for me. So I switched my major to something that I've done all my life, which is English. I speak English. Why shouldn't I switch to English? And by the time I graduated, I had a 3.7 in that major, so clearly it was a much better fit for my skill sets than the biology pre-med, okay? But through those studies, I came across this guy, William Shakespeare. And I absolutely fell in love with William Shakespeare, not because of, the flowery language, not because of, the proclivity he had for words, but I fell in love with this man because of his influence. And when I taught high school English, that was one of the things that I told my students was, if you can understand Shakespeare, you can do anything, right? And so I fell in love with him because of his influence. So Shakespeare is noted for being one of the most prolific writers in the history of our world, okay? He's used over 15,000 words in all of his writings collectively. Of those 15,000 words, he added like an additional 1,500, I think it was 1,500, up to 7,000 different words to the English language. And not because he wanted to, it's because he needed to, right? So William Shakespeare influenced the way that we began to speak. He helped to cultivate the Middle English, tongue, which is more closely related to the language that we speak today, right? And he did this through combining new words, right? He took this word over here, kind of like, took this word over here, kind of like, boom, brand new word, right? And so he influenced who we are as a people today. He influenced who we are as a world today. And so this is my absolute love for William Shakespeare. I want to read this for you really quick. So in the 15,000 words within his plays that he used, a portion of which he invented himself by just merging existing words together from different foreign languages and such. His counterparts, like Milton, who's another poet, used only about 8,000 words in his given writings. Okay? The Old Testament only uses about 5,600 words. Okay? And so this individual was not only creating, but he was creating more, right? Influence. Okay? We're gonna go to somebody else. It's my girl. So our 1986 Janet, okay, our 2016 Janet, okay, and I love Janet in the sense that she was an influencer, right? She had impact, okay, and that's kind of what we're going with today as you can pick up on the theme, influence and impact. So in 1986, Janet was 20 years old, okay? She had already had 2 albums out. She was just getting off of a divorce. So those of you who were behind at 20 years old, just kidding. All right. So in 1986, she came out with a song that really changed her image. Okay, y'all remember this song? What have you done for me? I'm not even singing. Okay, I don't sing. So for those of you, my millennial kiddos who are in the room who aren't familiar, we're gonna show you. Your parents know, but we're gonna show you all. Can we do the? Get this to click.
Anything for Janet.
Anything for Janet. Okay. picture that should work. I hope there's some sound, because we're not gonna sing to it.